right, well, as you know, my name is Megan. I'm a social work third-year student at Warburg, and I'm in practice 1, so I'm practicing my interview skills. And today, I would just like to thank you for meeting with me a second time to get this recording done, especially with the snow outside. So I just kind of want to learn about more of what you do and about your career today. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Awesome. So I understand that you're a social worker. Could you tell me what you do?
Well, for the past, I've been a social worker for between 26 and 27 years. And initially I started out in the chemical dependency field. I worked at Covenant, and I ran the evening outpatient group there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 at night. I did that for 2.5 years. It was a great experience. It was a great first job. From there, I was hired by Brentwood, and I worked for Brentwood for a number of years as the program was called Family Centered Services.
Sure.
And it's a lot like what I'm doing now. I did that for, again, a number of years. From Brentwood, I worked for the Meskwaki tribe as an ICWA worker. ICWA stands for Indian Child Welfare Act. I was an ICWA worker for just a brief stint, and then I was hired at Mid-Iowa Family Therapy, doing in-home skill development, same thing. And from there I started a business with Kevin Peterson. It's called New Directions. It still exists today. From New Directions, I started another agency with Kate Hauerman, which is still exists today, and that is called Monarch Therapy. From Monarch Therapy, I'm now at Families First, and I've been there since June.
So I'm hearing you do a lot of in-home family work. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. The name has changed a few different times through the years, through the past 25 or so years. But the service is essentially the same. It's a skill-based service. And we are hired to go into a home where there's some identified issues and help that family develop some, and it's curriculum-based in most cases, so we do have a curriculum. I tend to fly by the seat of my pants a little bit more than most, but we help the help the family identify what their issues are and give them the tools that they need to be more capable parents and address and help their children address their diagnosis more effectively.
Okay. So hearing all this, I gather that you have a lot of experience in the field. Tell me a little bit more about the stuff that you haven't done for a while, like the substance abuse.
Well, I haven't. I haven't officially worked in that capacity, but I would say that probably 90% of the families that I currently work with have some sort of substance abuse issue or related to some sort of addiction.
Sure.
And so that initial job that I had really, it was a good entry-level position. It was great education. I got an incredible experience there because, again, most of the issues that we deal with are substance abuse related. It could be domestic violence, trouble managing money, child abuse. So, but I don't miss that particular type of work. I ran the evening outpatient group, and I clinical spin on it, which I liked, which I think was beneficial for the patients that were there. But that particular work, you hear the same story over and over and over again. It's just people are different, the faces change, the cultures are a little bit different, but the disease of addiction is, it kind of writes itself. It's the same story repeatedly.
Yeah, so
It's
with
different
addiction,
endings.
same faces,
Mm-hmm.
like same stories, different faces, same stories. Do you find that a little different in the in-home?
Yeah, it's considerably different. Again, the substance abuse treatment. Back when I did it may be different now, but back when I did it, you kind of plugged everybody into a program. They would start out by identifying why they were there, whom they've hurt through the years. And again, they would tell their story, which is similar to everybody else in the room. Whereas when you do in-home, when you walk through the door, you don't know you're on their terms. It's their environment. You don't know what you're going to be walking into. There could be a situation. A kid could be throwing a tantrum. The parents might not be coping with it very well. There could be a domestic situation going on with mom and dad. So it's always different when you walk into the house for that day. It's different every day, and there's a lot of variety there. And I think that's what's kept me in this particular line of work for a long time, is that it's not a factory job. It's not you're not working on a line somewhere. It's not monotonous. Every home is different. Every family is different. Their values, their traditions are different. So it's something that interests me.
Yeah.
When I walk into a house for the first time, I do a genogram, and that genogram is a little bit of a blueprint for me as to how I'm going to structure my work, for the next couple of months. So.
Yeah. You seem like you really enjoy it working.
I love it. I do, most days.
With different situations, have you ever found yourself in a hard ethical position?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah. There are some times when you work with other agencies a lot. You work with the Department of Human Services. You work with doctors. You work with attorneys. And if you're in the business for a while, a lot of people have your phone number. And sometimes what they want to do is just call you up and ask you how things are going.
Yeah.
You don't always know if you have a release of information. It's good to get as many releases as possible, as long as the family's okay with it. But there's been some times when someone will call me up, and I get placed into a little bit of a dilemma, not knowing if I have a release of information or not. So I haven't been perfect there, certainly through the years. There was another situation that I was thinking about. Early in my career, I went into a home. This is back when I used to refinish antiques and things like that. And the family lived in Bristow, Iowa, a small little town west of here. And they had an old Hoosier kitchen cupboard. Okay. And I made a comment one time that I liked, I said, that's really cool. And about a month later, the mom that I was working with, she said, that Hoosier cupboard is my dad's, and he wants to sell it. Would you be interested? And I said, again, I was 25, 26 years old. So I said, initially I said, yeah, I would be. And And so I bought it.
Yeah.
But I got to thinking about that. And then, I took some ethics classes since then. That's a violation of ethics.
Yeah.
You can't be giving, you really can't, because you never know when, in this line of work, you never know when you might be called or you might be subpoenaed to testify on either the client's behalf or the state's behalf. And so, had that happen in that particular situation, and if I was called to testify on the state's behalf, maybe mom did something to one of the kids, certainly if mom's attorney had the information that I purchased something from the family,
Sure.
then it could be used against me. So there's a bit of an ethics violation there. There was another time, this was probably a little over 15 years ago. I was working with a family, and the mom of the child that I was working with, we were talking, and things. We were talking family dynamics and what type of childhood she had. She was talking about her brother, who actually committed a murder in Nebraska about 5 years prior to the conversation that we had. It was an unsolved murder.
Okay.
And so I had that information, and I had actually met her brother. He had stopped over a couple different times. And so I contacted my supervisor, who contacted the owner of the agency at the time, and it was decided that that information needed to stay within the home.
Yep.
And so I kind of knew that. I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Did you find kind of yourself in a rough position at that point in time, ethically?
You know.
Did you want to say anything, or?
I'd heard a little bit about the situation that happened between the two individuals, and so I didn't lose a lot of sleep. I guess I could live with the result that took place in Nebraska, and I could live with the fact that I knew that there was someone who had killed somebody that I had met a couple of different times, and that due to confidentiality, I couldn't share that information with anybody.
Looking at all these ethical positions that you run into as a social worker, do you find yourself correlating with the NASW a lot, or?
I'd say for the most part. But my honest answer is there are times when I think things get a little fringy.
Sure.
And I think there are times when, as not just a social worker, but as another human being, you need to do the right thing. So, yeah, I mean, I try to follow the ethics. I try to follow the code of ethics as much as I can, but there are times, I guess, when basic reason